Klay Thompson's dad ended up checking Monica McNutt and everybody who has the same ideology that she has when it comes to why Caitlin Clark is famous and why she's such a big phenomenon in this world.
That moment was crazy. Mychal Thompson has been around basketball legends his whole life. Magic, Jordan, Bird, and even raised Klay, a multiple-time NBA champion. But meeting Caitlin Clark left him completely in awe. That just shows how huge her impact is, not just in women's basketball but in the sport as a whole. She's changing the game right before our eyes.
They don't like Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, I've been noticing, I've been following her career since she was a sophomore at Iowa, and I recognized how different she was, how different she played the game. She played the game like Steph Curry. We had never seen a woman play like that before.
Meanwhile, ESPN's Monica McNutt keeps downplaying Caitlin Clark's achievements. Her latest take, that Clark's popularity comes from being a white girl from the middle of America, is not just offensive, it's part of a pattern. It's not about Clark's insane logo threes, her elite court vision, or the joy she brings to millions of fans. Instead, McNutt reduces it to how she looks. The real question is, why would someone with McNutt's platform keep targeting the player who's bringing millions of new fans to women's basketball? And what did Mychal say that put McNutt in her place? Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
Monica McNutt just crossed a line that many ESPN analysts know better than to approach. In a recent BBC interview with special correspondent Caddy K, McNutt chose to downplay Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise by attributing it to something other than her incredible talent. Instead of focusing on Clark's skills, McNutt reduced it all to the way Clark looks and, apparently, what she represents.
And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Let that sink in for a moment. According to McNutt, it's not Caitlin Clark's NCAA scoring records that drew fans. It's not her no-look passes, her sick crossovers that leave defenders frozen, or her deep three-pointers that have changed how women's basketball is played. It's not the flair with which she interacts with fans, nor how she makes time for kids, or her positive representation of the sport. Nope, apparently it's all about her being white and Midwestern.
WNBA and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it. We haven't seen Caitlin.
This dismissive take completely ignores the real reasons millions tune in to watch Caitlin Clark play. While McNutt was busy reducing Clark to her demographic profile, the Indiana Fever were out there scheduling an unprecedented 41 nationally televised games for 2025. Networks don't commit those resources because of a player's background. They do it because viewers can't get enough of watching genuine excellence on the court.
The folks that cover the NBA, these people that play in the NBA, these people that cover the NBA, there I said these people, all of you, black, white, green, purple, why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph Curry. How many times we got to say?
What makes McNutt's comments especially troubling is how they strip away Caitlin Clark's agency and disregard her decade-plus of relentless skill development. Every behind-the-back pass, every logo three, these weren't gifts handed to her by privilege, but skills honed through thousands of hours in empty gyms when no one was watching. McNutt conveniently glosses over the fact that Clark led the entire league in assists as a rookie, all while adapting to a completely new level of competition.
But honestly, the main reason is because of her talents. It's not because of her race. Her race has nothing to do with it. Especially with kids. She's saying kids don't see color, man. The kids that I grew up around, and when I grew up as a kid, I didn't see color, man. I did not see color. I didn't care about color. I didn't know what color was. I just knew you were a human being, and I was trying to be your friend. It's kind of a crazy, nonsensical take to say that kids were looking up to her because she was white.
The hypocrisy is staggering when you realize that McNutt collects a paycheck from the very same ESPN that broadcasts Caitlin Clark's games and benefits greatly from her popularity. It's the sports media equivalent of biting the hand that feeds you, while simultaneously suggesting that the hand doesn't deserve to be fed in the first place.
There's all type of nationalities and ethnicities that follow Caitlin Clark and rock with her. So it's not that. I don't think that's the case.
Trended, and clips of her statements circulated widely. The backlash wasn't just about defending Clark. It was about pushing back against the insulting implication that Clark's diverse fan base supports her because of racial identity rather than basketball brilliance.
Fans didn't take this lying down. Social media exploded with outrage following McNutt's comments. One user on X wrote, "She should be fired immediately." As hashtags trended and clips of her statements spread widely, the backlash wasn't just about defending Clark. It was about rejecting the insulting idea that Clark's diverse fanbase supports her because of her racial identity, rather than her basketball brilliance. What McNutt failed to understand is that Clark's appeal transcends demographics. Visit any Fever game, and you'll see fans of all backgrounds wearing her jersey. Talk to them, and they'll mention her court vision, her fearlessness in taking shots most players wouldn't dream of attempting, and her competitiveness. Not once will they bring up her being a white girl from the middle of America.
But hey, it's every day. I don't know why Monica McNutt or anybody that professes to know basketball can't simply say, her game's just different than everybody we've ever seen. Ever. Now, don't tell me. I've watched. Ever. Tamika Catchy's great player. Seen her.
The backlash to McNutt's racial comments is just the latest chapter in what seems like a personal vendetta against the WNBA's brightest star. This wasn't an isolated incident, or a momentary slip-up. McNutt has been consistently moving the goalposts every time Clark achieves something remarkable. Whether it's dismissing her accomplishments or downplaying her impact, it's clear that McNutt has been relentless in trying to undermine Clark's success.
Dunn, Sabrina, Brianna, Kelsey, Diana Taurasi. You had and have these white players in the league that never galvanized the people like this. Alright? Now, granted, you can have some people come back and say, well, the media and the coverage wasn't as good as it is now. NILs and things like that weren't popping off. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it, man. If they were that captivating, they would have got the eye.
Just look at the Rookie of the Year debate last year. While Caitlin Clark was putting up historic numbers as a first-year player, McNutt suddenly decided that team success should be the primary criterion. She appeared on ESPN's Get Up and declared her support for Angel Reese over Clark, specifically because the Chicago Sky were in the playoffs at the time, while the Indiana Fever were not. How convenient that individual excellence became secondary the moment Clark dominated those statistical categories.
Would have the Sky in the playoffs right now, which means that Angel Reese, in theory, has impacted winning in a greater way. But I think the double-double streak that she's on, the 8 consecutive double-doubles, for Caitlin, she's leading rookies in points, minutes, and assists. There was terrific stats put out over the weekend by our colleague Mychal Thompson about the percentage, about her being the player that has seen the most blitzes in the league. And so she's navigating a different level of defensive intensity, and rightfully so, because she's playing a point guard role for this Fever squad. So I think today, looking at the standings, you probably tend to lean Angel.
You'll notice this pattern everywhere in McNutt's commentary. When Caitlin Clark breaks records or achieves something unprecedented, McNutt shifts the focus to team performance. When the conversation turns to Clark's impact on growing the game, McNutt finds ways to credit other players or external factors. The inconsistency is nothing short of remarkable. Her evaluation criteria mysteriously shift depending on whether they might favor Clark. Watch McNutt's body language during ESPN segments featuring Clark highlights. The eye rolls, dismissive hand gestures, and visibly restrained enthusiasm stand in stark contrast to her animated discussions about other rookies. This nonverbal communication speaks volumes about her underlying attitudes toward Clark. And let's not forget when she even admitted that jealousy existed.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros, right?
Her social media activity tells an equally revealing story. McNutt has repeatedly liked and retweeted posts that diminish Caitlin Clark's achievements or suggest she's overhyped. These digital breadcrumbs create a clear trail of bias that goes beyond her on-air commentary, further cementing the perception that her criticism comes from something personal rather than professional analysis.
When you go watch Caitlin Clark, I did this. I went to go to a Fever game, not because I'm so enamored with women's basketball or because I'm so enamored with Caitlin Clark. No, I wanted to see what it was like on the court. Who did my eyes go to? And without question, it was a game against Phoenix. Big old Brittany Griner's out there. Very hot Sophie Cunningham is out there, but they didn't matter. All eyes go to Caitlin Clark because of the way she plays, the way she competes, the way she's a little bit, to use Shannon Sharp's, we're a little nasty on the court, nasty to her teammates. She's screaming at a ref right in front of us. I had first row seats right there under the basket. Fantastic.